Hey everybody, we need to get into this really quick. I really want to drive the car, so before we can do that, we got to figure out what's going on with this rear axle. So before I left Colorado, or I guess last winter time, I had I got this axle built. I'm not too sure what's going on with it. It's the same gear that's in it before, so I know the gears aren't noisy. It makes a whine when you don't give it very much load or just like kind of cruising. It's like when you give it a decent amount of load, it doesn't whine as bad, but it still whines a little bit. So I'm draining the fluid right now. As you can see, just gonna pull the diff cover off really quick and maybe check out this backlash, see what's going on. Maybe it's some type of pinion issue, I'm not too sure. I'm hoping that I don't have to actually pull the whole axle out of the car. It's not too bad to do, but it's more work than what I want to do. So like I said before, I only have about a week left being here, so I don't know. I guess I hope I figure it out. If not, it's just how it be sometimes. So we're gonna figure it out today, and hopefully we get this issue fixed. Got this all drained, and I got some gear marking compound in there. Check the wear on it, and it seems like it's a little bit too shallow. I sent some pictures of it to John over at Bully Racing. He's really good at setting them up, and he's telling me that it just looks like it's a little bit shallow. So more than likely to fix it, I'm just gonna end up pulling it all the way out and taking it to somebody, because I don't know how to set up gears. That's why I had somebody else do it back in Colorado, because I don't know what I'm doing with gear stuff, and it's easier for me to just have somebody else do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and lower the car back down and get it set up to align the rear axle to the chassis, and then I'll align the axle to the front as well. So it's gonna be a little bit of an ordeal, but that's what we'll do. I went to a place today to order the master and the booster adapter thing, and that won't be here till tomorrow. So we got some stuff we gotta do until the brake stuff shows up tomorrow. So if we can figure out this rear gear stuff and the brakes, and then put some harnesses in the car, I think we should be ready to go. I got the rear control arms all loosened up so I can adjust this. So if you guys see, this looks like, if you look in the wheel well, it looks like it's scooped back just a little bit, which is what I want. I want it like this. There's like a nice gap there, and it's a little bit tighter back here. Makes the wheelbase just a little bit longer, and I like that. The car is all tubbed, so it's not gonna rub on anything back here. It's kind of deceiving, but it's got plenty of room right there to grow just in case. So I'm just checking this side, because my other side is the side that was super close. So I have never squared the axle to the chassis in this thing. I literally, because on the old setup, right, I still had the stock front suspension on it, so I just set the wheelbase on like the axle to the front, which doesn't really make sense, but the car seemed to work all right. So what I'm doing in here to square up the axle is I'm measuring this side, because I know this side is pretty good in the wheel well, and then I'm gonna match the other side to it. So I put a bolt through the stock torque box that's up here. So this is where the factory like control arm would come through. This thing basically had a parallel 4-link from factory, and I left these bottom brackets on it, so it's a good spot to measure to. I just have my plumb bob hanging off the front of my bolt like that, and then I have my plumb bob hanging off the front of my axle. I have the same thing on the other side, as you can see through there. So I'm going to take this measurement right here. It is actually, I've already measured it, it's 16 3/4, or just about. So I'm going to adjust this side to perfectly 16 3/4, and then I'm going to set the other side to 16 3/4, and then check it all, and then I got to make sure the pinion angle is correct as well. I'll be putting the pinion angle down 2 degrees, zeroed out on the back of the output shaft on the transmission. I got the axle all squared up in the car. Well, I guess to those old bolt holes. I got the axle squared up in the car. As you can see, this one has a nice gap here and a nice gap there. And this side as well has a nice gap before. I should have showed you guys before. But as you can see, this one has a nicer, bigger gap up front here like the other side. And then a nice gap here as well. So that way the tire isn't close to it. Before, this one used to be way closer to that. Like there's maybe a ½ inch in between the body right there and the tires. The next thing I need to do, since I squared up the axle to the chassis, now I'm going to set the wheelbase on both sides the same. And then after that, I'm gonna lower the car down with the wheels and tires on and everything, roll it back and forth. And then I'm gonna do a string all along it and make a little box. I saw this on Tin Soldiers. They have a really good explanation of how they align their race cars. And then I'm gonna measure from the string and then adjust the toe on the front. So hopefully we don't have to take it to an alignment rack or anything like that, and hopefully I can do this by myself. So that's the next thing that we're gonna do. Let's get to it. So I went ahead and got both sides all stringed up. This is really simple, right? So if you want to measure the center to center something, so I'm starting on this edge, so on the same thing, on the other side I just start on that front edge. So I measure front edge to front edge, and it technically is giving you the center of this. So yeah, right now I have it offset just 2 inches because it makes it easier to read on the tape here, because like that's so high. But so that's at 2 inches, and this right here is at 98 inches. So I take my 2 inches off of that. The wheelbase is 96 inches long. I am measuring off of this side because I measured this side the most and got the control arm so it wasn't bound up. I got it as far forward as I could without it like looking really nasty, the angle on it, and then also to still be able to fit in the wheel well. So this side is 98 inches. I'm just gonna match the other side to this side. So that makes it super simple and easy. I actually gained about 1 inch of wheelbase on this thing between the front and the rear, which is good. The factory wheelbase on this is right about 95 inches. I don't really know if it matters or if it's gonna help, but I guess every inch counts, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the other side, and then we'll be done with this, and then we just gotta adjust the toe really quick. All right, so I just got done measuring for all the toe adjustment, everything, and getting the steering wheel straight. I hope I did this right. I guess we'll see when I go and drive it. So basically what I did was I tried to get the jack stands as close as I could, like to the same width, front and back. And then what I did was I measured off of this wheel face right here on both sides and then adjusted these until this side was square. Like I said earlier, I was trying to square the front of the car to the back of the car. I'm assuming that like that's what this is doing for the toe, because that's obviously what it needs to be squared off of. And then obviously the same thing for this side. Now what I'm really excited about is how well the suspension geometry works. So even with the suspension jacked up like this, right, like this is somewhat what it's gonna look like when it weight transfers. It's about 2 inches higher than what it sits at ride height. Maybe a little bit higher. It has another about 3 inches of travel before it maxes the shock out, which is good because it's going to help with weight transfer on the street, which is what I want the car for. Now, just like this, when I measured the toe, it's still the exact same. It's towed in 1/16 of an inch on both sides, so a total of 1/8 of an inch. So I'm a noob, but from my thoughts, that means that the bump steer on this thing is really good, actually. The pivot point for the control arm and the inner tie rods are almost in line with each other, so I wonder if that has something to do with it. But it all seems to work really good. Obviously, I haven't went and drove it on the street, but just based off of the tape measures, so I'm honestly pretty impressed. I don't know how that happened, but it seemed to happen. So enough rambling. I'm gonna tighten down these outer tie rods. I'm gonna put the car back on the lift and pull the rear axle out of the car. So I need to take it to a shop tomorrow. They said that they should hopefully be able to get it done before Wednesday for me, so I can slap it back in the car and make it pass on Thursday. So once we get the axle out, we're also going to pull the master and the booster off this thing, because the Mustang one will be here tomorrow as well. So still got a lot of stuff to do tonight. Hopefully it goes pretty quick. Oh hey, it's been a couple of days and I've gotten a lot of stuff done. I've been going like crazy. I've been exhausted. I've thought about giving up a time or two, but the thing is back together. I got the axle fixed by this dude, shout out Paul over at LIP Performance over in Clearwater. He got the whole backlash and everything and the wear pattern figured out on the axle. It's all put together back in the car. I am really happy about that. So the car is basically ready to go. I got the Strange brakes on it, or the Strange master cylinder on it, the big bore master cylinder on it, and they're all done. So that was the other issue we had. And then one more thing that I have to do, well, I got a couple little things, but one big thing is change out the injectors. Right now it has a set of Snake Eater Performance 1500s in it. These are the old style. These are like the Deca and oh my goodness, Sima and Deca or whatever they are, injectors. What did I upgrade to? Well, Brad and his team over there sent over a pair of the Bosch Body 2200s. So that means we have a whole bunch of extra fuel now, and we will not be limited by the fuel system on this, I don't believe. Actually, I don't know if this pump will do about 1200, but it might. If it's in the cards, we possibly could run a 7-second pass if this thing is up to the challenge, I guess. I don't really know what it's going to do. I would like to go and run 8s. But before we can do all that, I need to swap out the injectors, adjust everything in the Holley, and then just go through it and make sure everything's going to be good to go. I still need to go drive the car on the street and see how that alignment is going to be, and just see how everything's going to feel, because it's all new. Test the brakes, mess with the fuel map and all that stuff before I go to the track. The car's not going to go in the dyno. I'm going to make really small hits at the track and probably 330 hits, and like maybe do light load at first and just cruise down it, kind of see how much fuel it's taking and how much it needs, and then adjust it from there. So that's the plans. Let's install these injectors really quick. Thanks again, Brad. I appreciate y'all over there at Snake Eater. Went ahead and got these injectors installed. No problem with them. They were a breeze putting in there. I have shorter brackets once I get back home in Colorado to take those spacers off. So once I get home, I'll switch those out. I entered in the data that I was given, and other than having to pull a little bit of startup enrichment out of it, it seems pretty solid. So I'm gonna have to correct a little bit of fuel, but it's idling right about like 13.8, 14.0, which is pretty similar to what I was doing before. And it revs pretty smooth. I guess I can start it up and show you guys really quick. So I just had it on a little bit earlier, so it's a little warm now, but fire's right up. The Learn is turned off right now, so this is all, see, idle's pretty good. That's not bad for slapping some 2200s in it and pulling like 1% out of the idle. That's it. So that data for it must have been pretty good. We're gonna go to the track. Just got back from the first drive in this thing. It all felt pretty good. The brakes feel good. We didn't get up going too fast, but I got on them pretty hard and they seemed to stop pretty good, and the pedal feels pretty good. So that is one thing that we need to fix. The injectors are good. The fuel map is pretty good. We had to pull a little bit of fuel out of it down low, but other than that, made like 15-ish pounds of boost for just a little bit and did some light load testing on it just to make sure everything was going to be pretty solid and kind of close. Up top in like 1 or 2 spots, it was correcting maybe like 2 or 3% fuel, which I'd say is pretty good for just guessing on the map. So I'm pretty happy with that, and it seems like it's all ready to go. I had to tighten up one of the shock nuts because I had that loose and it was clanking all hard. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it in the GoPro, but I got that fixed. And then also the alignment, the car to go straight, I need to turn the car left a little bit. So I need to realign it or just recheck it. Other than that, I mean, it seems pretty solid, not like it's super far off, and I'm pretty happy. So not really much left to do, but go out there and send it. I hope you guys are excited, and man, it's been a long road, but we are almost there. So I appreciate you guys watching. Just want to say thanks again to Brad over at Snake Eater. Injectors work flawless, and I'm really happy with them, and it gives me a way better peace of mind having the new injectors in there. I'm gonna send back the old ones to get them cleaned. But anyways, thank you, and I hope you guys are excited for tomorrow. And try and get Kyle's MR2 out there as well. He's over there working on it. I'm gonna finish up this video and go help him. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys tomorrow at the track.